وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. يروي الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن أبي مالك الأشعري رضي الله عنه قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. The hadith in the collection of Imam Muslim is narrated to us by Abu Malik al-Ash'ari, one of the relatives of Musa al-Ash'ari from the same tribe, not the same person though. And this is within the five, I've said narrate five ahadith that address the problem of racism, bigotry, and issues that are related to that. And the Prophet ﷺ addressed these things in a very specific manner. He was very firm when he addressed these issues. And I read 2 hadith so far, and this is the third, and I have 2 more to go. And this is not something that is new to you. If you've attended any form of Islamic teachings in your life, then you've definitely heard the people who talk about these things point out that the Prophet ﷺ did not take lightly the concept of arrogance and condescending speech, especially when it's happening towards large groups of people. Specifically when someone goes ahead and says something and generalizes over a complete group, whether it's a group that is racial or a group that is religious or a group that is whatever they are. Honestly, you can categorize people however you want. The moment you start looking down on a group of people, you've almost, like, you've done something so anti-Islamic that the Prophet ﷺ, had he met you, he would not have taken it lightly on you. Like, he wouldn't come to you ﷺ, as he would many times when someone would sin. He would come ﷺ very gently, very kindly, with all the rifq and ease in the world, and advise you and teach you. But if you did this, he didn't. He came and he was very, very specific. He was very firm with it. That's putting it easy. That's actually watering it down, where he dealt with it very firmly. And this is the hadith in Imam Muslim where he said, عليه الصلاة والسلام, قال أربع في أمتي من الجاهلية لا يتركونهن. There are 4 things, unfortunately, within my ummah that are from the jahiliyyah, that they have not left yet. They haven't given up on yet. And he says 4 things. The first 2 are the point of the hadith, and there's another 2 that I'll narrate quickly. Number 1, قال الفخر بالأحساب والطعن بالأنساب والاستسقاء بالنجوم والنياحة. The first one, الفخر بالأحساب, to walk around showing pride or proclaiming or claiming superiority based on lineage or based on background or based on anything that puts you in a specific category, and using that categorization as a reason for you to be higher than others. الفخر بالأحساب. That still exists today. It just comes in different forms. That's all. It still exists. It hasn't gone away. As much as I would love to say that it did, it has, but it hasn't. Still there. It's just happening in different forms. It's not happening as it used to happen during the Prophet ﷺ's life, where they would just say, I am from Banu Tamim, or I am from Banu Bakr, or I am from Quraysh, or I am from this, and they would just talk about the heroes of their tribes and try to condescend to other tribes. Now it's happening a little differently. Now it's nationalism is coming into it, or maybe your profession, or maybe the amount of wealth, what class of financial class you belong to, or what part of the world you hail from, or what color of skin you have, whatever. It's the same thing. الفخر بالأحساب والطعن في الأنساب. You think they're the same thing, but they're not. So الفخر بالأحساب is claiming superiority through something that you have, some lineage or background. الطعن في الأنساب is basically belittling people based on their backgrounds. الطعن في النسب is when you say, oh, that background is inferior, or that background is not that great, or this group of people, all of them, they're like this, or they speak like that, or they behave like this, or this is their mentality, or this is how they are, or this is الطعن في الأنساب, to look at a group of people and then belittle them as a group, just as a whole group. So easy. By the way, it's an exercise that human beings do to feel better about themselves, because they feel some part of them is traumatized and scarred and weak. So a way to feel better about yourself is just to look at a full group of people and say they're this. I'm not. They are. So suddenly you feel better than a whole group of people. It helps you get through your day. الطعن في الأنساب, going after others, going after. When it happens on an individual level, it's called arrogance, and you do not enter Jannah if there's a speck of arrogance inside the heart. When you do it against a group of people, racism is just collective arrogance. That's all it is. Arrogance is me thinking I'm better than one person. Racism is me thinking I'm better than a whole group of people. You understand the problem? kibr, that's it. You have kibr, you stand outside. But I don't care what you did. But I did, it doesn't matter. Is there kibr in your heart? Yeah, stand outside, sorry. Before that's gone, you're not entering. Jannah is not, it's a kibr-free place. You can only enter if you have true humbleness. If there's a little bit of racism, it's going to take a long time to get rid of kibr when you have it towards one person. What are you going to do when you have it against groups of people? And then he says, istisqa'u bin nujum. For the lack of a better word, astrology. Any believers in astrology? Alhamdulillah, inshallah, no one. Istisqa'u bin nujum, or somehow you think that stars are the reason you're going to have a good day or a bad one. And we'll talk about that in a different, inshallah, set of ahadith, because it does have relevance, and there are certain behavior patterns that need to change. And then niyaha. And niyaha is when you go through difficulty, someone dies, and someone starts to behave in ways that are inappropriate, and they start ripping their clothing and saying things they shouldn't say out of trying to show that they love the person who died, and they say stuff they shouldn't say. And if you go around the world, you know that these things are still. But the first two are my biggest concern. الفخر بالأحساب والطعن بالأنساب. For us to feel superior based on something that based on anything really, even if something we did, even if you categorize yourself into a group of people who maybe memorized the Quran, for example, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you think you're better than others, it's the same problem. It doesn't make a difference. والطعن بالأنساب, and looking for reasons for people to be inferior to you. And these are things in the ummah that the Prophet ﷺ is saying, unfortunately, they're from Jahiliyyah, and they're not gone yet. And they haven't left them yet. People have not let these things go yet. So inshallah, we can do that, and we can learn to let these things go and be similar to him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in his character. يروي الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن أبي مالك الأشعري رضي الله عنه قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أربع في أمتي من أمر الجاهلية لا يتركونهن الفخر بالأحساب والطعن في الأنساب والاستسقاء بالنجوم والنياحة. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله